Hey everyone, welcome back to the workshop. Artisan Pirate here, and in today's Fun Scroll Saw project video, we're going to be doing our final Halloween design for 2025, so really cool. I hope you have liked all of the spooky and creative designs that I have made over here on the platform for Halloween 2025, and hopefully it inspires you guys to go out in your garage or workshops and try a spooky design for the Halloween season. Again, Halloween is right here, my friends, in 2025. I've already got the design selected. I've got it printed out to its full size and attached to our material wood clear packing tape, and it's going to be a newer, free Steve Good design, so please be aware of that. And it appropriately depicts the Headless Horseman. Now, the pattern you download, I believe from Steve's blog post, said Scarecrow on horseback or something to that effect. I prefer to call this the Headless Horseman because you can see it does have a jack-o'-lantern for a head. It's carrying another one here, so another face in case, you know, that one gets knocked off or something. Then it's got the beautiful designs of the horse itself. I've got the pattern attached to 3/4 inch pine shelving board, and you guys know why I love to use pine to teach with visually over here on the platform, because it cuts, sands, shapes, and contours exceptionally well, and it's just a cheaper material to teach with over here on the platform. Be aware that it does have a slotted and tab design here. This offcut from the same piece of pine shelving board I milled down to put the scroll saw pattern on will be the base, and once we get everything cut out, we will trace a little slot here to accept the tab. So there you see already a kind of visual for the finished design. So it's going to be a really cool design for Halloween, and I think it would look really cool with maybe a spooky light behind it, or setting with a nice diorama of fall leaves and pumpkins and everything. The Legend of Sleepy Hollow and the Headless Horseman are iconic fixtures of the Halloween and spooky season, and I'm really happy to make a project dedicated to that subject and bring it to life visually over here on the platform as we look forward to that spooky and spectacular night. Since everything is pretty much prepped and prepared, let's move the camera over to the workbench so we can drill all of the pilot holes required so we can come back to the scroll saw and start scrolling. And over here on the workbench, we are taking the Seiko scroller's drill and a small drill bit and drilling out all of the pilot holes for internal cutting. And you'll see that I have a backer board behind the scroll saw work to prevent blowout of the pilot holes on the reverse side. But after all of the pilot holes are drilled, we'll head over to the Rikon scroll saw and start scrolling. And for all of the scrolling on this project, I'll be using a number 5 Ultra reverse tooth blade, and it will cut through our 3/4 inch pine material here exceptionally well with minimal chip out. If you guys would like to try this pattern, it's available as a free pattern download over at Steve Good's scrollsawworkshop.blogspot.com website over in his free pattern catalog. And it is one of his newest pattern offerings from 2025 for those curious. But we are going through here getting all of the details in the faces before moving on to the larger internal cuts. And we are now going to go to a closer view to hopefully give you guys a better perspective to what I'm doing. And the project does have some of those sharp points in the details, and you guys can see how I am achieving those by going in one side of a sharp point and then backing the scroll saw blade back out and then going into the other side of the point, tapering it down to as fine a point as the pattern calls for. But going through here, and this project does have some veining in it, and the veining is indicated by those dark, bolder lines in the pattern. And the only way to do veining over at the scroll saw, as you see me doing here, is to just go into that line of detail and follow it to the best of your abilities, and then back the scroll saw blade out carefully while it is still running. It really adds some nice visual lines of details to scroll saw projects and designs. If you guys like what you're seeing, I would highly encourage you to subscribe to my channel and also follow me across all my social media feeds under the Artisan Pirate name. I'd really appreciate the support. And now that all of the internal cuts are done, we are doing that final long outside perimeter cut to release the Headless Horseman from the waste material. And again, pine is a very soft material, but it's readily available in my area and I can pick it up inexpensively, and it's a great material to teach with visually over here on the platform. And it cuts very well over at the scroll saw. It sands, shapes, and contours very well. And by all means, if you want to, you can use exotic or hardwoods on designs like this for those natural and beautiful colors and textures. And as always, I am taking my time and letting the blade do the work. And this project does have some fragile pieces in it once you get done with all of the scroll saw work. The horse's front legs up in the open air are very fragile, so just be very careful with the piece once you get all of the scroll saw work completed. Over here at the workbench, I'll carefully remove the piece from the waste wood, and we'll take a scrap piece of the same 3/4 inch pine board I cut the scroll saw work out of and sketch out for a base here. And I'll drill the pilot hole for it off camera. But then we'll go to the Rikon scroll saw for the final time and complete all of the scroll saw work by cutting out the slot here to accept the tab in the base of the scroll saw work. And I'll do a quick test fit here. And now I'll cut the base down to its final dimensions over at the Rikon table saw. Of course, being as safe as possible. And I am just eyeballing this, not taking any proper measurements or anything. And then I opted to add a nice decorative edge to the front and back side over at the router table. I put a Roman OG profile on the front and back side of the base. And I'll explain why I do that as we close the video. But then it will be time for sanding with 180 grit Klingspor Woodworking Shop sandpaper in the vibrating palm sander. And you can see I'm doing very small circular motions here to sand everything on the front and back side. Again, being very careful with the actual scroll saw work so I don't break anything. But now it's time to apply a splash of color, and I'm going to use 2 different shades of Minwax Wood Stain, a very light shade on the Headless Horseman itself to not mask away any of the grain textures and to still see all of the beautiful details, and a darker shade for the base to make it look like the ground the horse is running upon. But after that dried, it was time for assembly with medium grade CA glue and activator. And you guys know I love using the CA glue because it basically dries and bonds instantly. But even after I spray the accelerator here and activator, I'll still leave it setting for around 4 or 5 minutes to make sure the glue has completely dried and cured. But then it will be time to apply a finish. And for finishing, I'll go with my standby of a few coats of Rust-Oleum clear gloss. And I coated it by the shop door and had the fan blowing on it to accelerate the drying time. And after it was dry to the touch, I added an extra element of decor to the piece. My mom had painted these little miniature ceramic pumpkins, and I thought they would look cool hot glued to the base here to really give it a Halloween and pumpkin themed flair. But once I was done here, the project was complete. And here we have the completed Halloween Headless Horseman on horseback, cut out completely from start to finish over on the scroll saw, and it finished up beautifully with some immaculate and beautiful details in it. Thank you, Steve Good, for another fantastic pattern from your pattern catalog. Once again, it's one of his newer pattern offerings from 2025 in case you guys want to go and download it and try it out in your garage or workshops. Hopefully today's video inspired you to try a project like this, that you've seen it visually made from start to finish. That's what I'm here for, guys, to hopefully inspire you guys to try beautiful and creative projects like this. And at the end, we added some nice little ceramic pumpkins that my mom made. Just hot glued them there on the base. I thought that would add to the creepy vibe of the Headless Horseman galloping through the night looking for his victims and everything. But really, really cool. Really happy with how this project came out. And the Rust-Oleum clear gloss we added at the end really gave everything a nice glossy texture and appearance to finish it off beautifully. Really, really cool. It took me around 30 minutes to scroll everything out completely from start to finish. It's not an overly complex design. It's just with the nature of some of the cuts, and you want to make sure the two faces and the two jack-o'-lanterns depicted in the pattern and the horse's eye come out nice and crisp. You need to, of course, take your time and let the blade do the work and be as loyal as you can be to the cut line. But really, really cool. Had a lot of fun with this project. And again, I'm fascinated with the story of Sleepy Hollow, you know, the Headless Horseman on the elusive hunt for its head and everything. Great story. There's been different spins on it. And again, as I said at the beginning, Steve Good has this indicated, I believe, as a scarecrow on horseback for Halloween. So that might be how you find it in the pattern catalog. But how I am visually interpreting it is the Headless Horseman on her horseback, for me for this project. But really, really neat. A great project to finish off the Halloween designs for 2025. Again, as I said at the beginning, I hope that you have liked the selection of Halloween projects that I have brought to life visually for Scroll Saw Woodworking over here on the platform for 2025. Let me know down in the comments which one was your favorite project that I brought to life over here on the platform. As I said at the beginning, I made this project out of basic pine 3/4 inch shelving board that is picked up locally. It's relatively cheap and inexpensive, and of course it's great to teach with visually over here on the channel for you guys to hopefully be inspired to go out and make a project. And you can of course use exotic or hardwoods. I think this would be a great project to cut out of walnut, you know, the darker color, maybe a cedar, you know, that blood red color once it's finished with a clear coat or something, and the walnut has a nice darker earth tone. You guys seen how I finished the project in today's video. I finished it with 2 different shades of Minwax wood stain, a lighter shade on the Headless Horseman itself to still allow the natural grains and textures of the pine material we used to shine through, and I used a darker shade down on the base to represent the earth that the horse is galloping across on Halloween night. And as you guys seen over at the rider table, I put a Roman OG profile on the front and the back side of the design, and I'm one of the few that just likes having the decorative edge profile on the front and back side as opposed to going all the way around. You can totally do that if you want to when you make this project, but I just think it's a nice artistic visual and a different take on how to make a base with just the front and the back. Now you could of course make the base bigger and glue different Halloween stuff from craft stores down here. We just had these on hand and I thought they would be appropriate to glue there at the base. My mom done a fantastic job of painting those little Halloween pumpkins and everything, and I've had those sitting on the model train table, and when I seen them I thought, hey, they would look good, you know, to be glued there at the base. You could of course make the base bigger and glue them, down here on the front if you choose to. And if I get tired of looking at them here on this base and want to use them for something else, they're simply glued with hot glue, and I can easily pop them off and use them for something else if that makes any sense. But a really cool, creative, and decorative project to make for Halloween 2025. That spooktacular night is upon us, my friends, and I hope you all remain safe, whatever you do in your spooktacular activities with the parties, the trick-or-treating, the fall festivals and everything. Remain safe out there in the big wide world and have fun and make those memories with family, friends, and loved ones. But I hope you guys like watching me make this project from start to finish, and again, I hope it inspires you guys to maybe want to go out and make a project like this out in your garage or workshop. Keep in mind there is some visual lines of detail by veining on this project, and you guys seen me how I achieved those. And again, veining just adds a beautiful element of style and decor to scroll saw projects where you just run the scroll saw blade into that darker, bolder line indicated on the pattern and then back it back out to create that line of detail, and it really brings a pattern like this to life with those extra visual lines of detail. Now again, I finished it with stains. You could of course go in with different types of stains. You could go in with paints and paint it up with acrylic craft paints and really make it. You could put black light paints on this to have a black light on it to where it could glow during Halloween night. I think that would be really cool. I think you could enlarge this pattern for a piece of yard art, but then you'd have to cut it out with, say, a jigsaw or something like that if you are good with those. So always options and versatility for each and every scroll saw project and pattern you come across. But I hope you guys like this project, and I hope you enjoyed watching me bring it to life visually over here on the platform. I had a fantastic time making it as Halloween night draws ever closer here in 2025. That's going to be about all for this one. If you're new to the channel, hopefully you'll click that subscribe button and also follow me across all my social media feeds under the Artisan Pirate name. As always, links to contact me as well as all my social media feeds will always be linked down in the description box below these videos. That's about all for this one, and remember guys, if I can make it or do it, so can you guys. I'm the Artisan Pirate. Take care, happy Halloween, and I'll see you guys real soon.